fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob.
A few moments later.
What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. It's your boy Andrew Esquire here. I've changed the studio around. Sorry I'm late. I was making some moves. I've now got the camera mounted on my light, so it's further away. It's a little bit slanty, but hey, look, we're in Asia, so it all works out. But I'm really excited here today. That is the first time I have used the Disney opening in a couple months, and it's really fun to be able to get back to covering good Disney stuff again. And this is precisely up my area of practice, precisely up my interest. So I said, look, I've got to cover this. And who else to come on and catch us up on Disney stuff, get into this potential quote unquote fifth park than my good friend and the person who really helped me take off by linking me up with all these other characters covering Disney and covering pop culture. And that's my good friend, Mike, Mexican Iron Man. How's it going, brother?
What's up, my longtime brother, the great legal mindset, my YouTube brother, my ex Coral Gables. God, if you and I had run into each other back in the day in Coral Gables, it would have been like an explosion.
It was so close. We were so close. Like it was a near miss in Coral Gables. But that said, it's good to have you back. I really appreciate you coming on with me. And, I know that, some people thought, oh, Andrew, well, what are you not covering Disney anymore? I said, no. I mainly wanted to cover the cases. I mainly want to cover that stuff. I have a lot of topics I need to cover, and I'm going to always hit the high points. And whenever it comes back to Florida real estate, Florida property development, of all the people on YouTube, of everybody else, that's my jam. That's my thing. Today, we're going to talk about a developer agreement. I have written about 24 developer agreements, so I'm very familiar with developer agreements. So this is something that is just like, click, I know it. I know exactly what they're promising, what they're not promising. A lot of people are talking about this is promising a fifth park. We'll talk about exactly what it is detailing and exactly what it is committing to and what it is not committing to, which I think everybody is going to be kind of a little bit surprised about that. We'll also review a little bit of the CFTOD footage we've got there live before we get into the document itself, because we've got the actual document. Which includes the developer agreement, which we're going to go through today, which is straight from the board packet. So it's like 100% the legitimate version, right? That was approved just a couple days ago. But before we do that, Mike, let me get these super chats, because of course I still run my show more efficiently than Valiant Renegade.
Yes. Although he does get the title of most improved super chatter on YouTube.
Okay. He was pretty awful. I love him. Bless his heart, as we say in the South. But goddamn. But yes, dude, glad he improved. I hope to do another stream with him soon. But let's get to these. Anime Fan 3794, welcome as a new member. Scott Westbrook with 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you, Scotty. Appreciate you with that 5. Very, very based. And Eagle Clipping Channel saying late mindset is back, baby. Litigator. Yes. Today I was definitely late mindset. It's on me, guys. It's on me. But thank you for being here. Torgo the White says, so Mexican VTuber man burrito character model when?
Never, because A, I'm not a YouTuber, and B, I don't even understand this VTuber stuff. And looking at the screen with the people with the anime thing, it makes my head.
All you need to do is get an iPhone and then get a burrito and put a sombrero on it, and that's it.
Wow.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, you're ready to go. It's kind of like you've seen what's it? Lofty. Rick Carrera, Mexican Iron Man, is a YouTuber. I've always said he is. This man is on more YouTube channels than anybody else. Like, he is either behind the scenes running the show or central in more YouTube shows than anyone else. No other single person has the far reach of Mike. Nobody else has this reach. An Anime Fan 3794 says, finally home to watch the live. Legal Minds was late and gay for a long, long time. I'll play it again. Just for you, Anime Fan.
But go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
Just for you, Anime Fan. Just for you. Appreciate you, though. Thank you for your super chat. So Mexican Iron Man, Mike, what has gone down in the last couple months with Disney? Like, just give me a 2 to 3 month recap. The one thing that was big news for me, which I told you before, which someone just told me yesterday, that I did not know, that Nelson Peltz sold all of his share in Tryon, sold all of their shares in Disney. To me, I was absolutely shocked. Now, of course, they probably got a pretty good price because that was after it was run up based on the proxy battle. So the price is pretty inflated, right? I haven't checked the price right now. Let's see, Diz stock. What are we at right now? We're still 100. Well, we're at
it's been flat.
101.
It's been flat at around $100. And when he sold it allegedly from the report on CNBC at the 120 mark, that report said that he made $1 billion off the position. There was no statement made as to whether or not he'll come back or not. I mean, the last statement we got from him was that he would be watching. He would be watching after he lost the proxy fight. But he completely and totally liquidated his percentage, made $1 billion off of it. I, of course, Mexican Iron Man, full disclosure, my basis is in the 140s, so I am still incredibly upside down myself in my own position due to my bad buying techniques and decisions. And Peltz is out, and I think there's a couple schools of thought. Some feel that he took his marbles and went home and won't come back because this was the first time that he lost a proxy battle, and he's been doing this for a couple decades now. Others feel that he doesn't like losing and that he will be back after Bob fails some more, and he will come back in and try to. He'll wait for the stock to drop, possibly come back in, and ride this thing again and come back for a third round. And let's not forget, this would be his third round if he comes back, because the first time he did a sort of a gentle push back over a year and a half ago, and then that was in early of 2023. This push that he made in 2024 was his hard full court press, which frankly I thought he was always too soft on. I think he should have gone retail.
He did not go as hard as he could have gone. I'm going to be honest with you, Mike.
I think something that would have helped.
A lot of punches. He pulled a lot of punches. He could have.
And I literally think the winning strategy would have been to appear on channels like yours, channel like Valiant Renegade, maybe Midnight Tech, just different channels that have audiences to really get that retail investor folk. But anyway, so he's out. So that happened. And that certainly took a lot. Bob went on a press tour, celebrated. He was right there in the media, now that this distraction was gone. And what most of the news has been in the last 2 months has really focused on their development efforts. Now, we're going to talk about what's happening in Florida, which, by the way, thanks for inviting me. And for those that don't know this, one of the things that made me and Andrew become fast friends is that in California, many years ago, I worked for the city of San Jose and the redevelopment agency that was in Silicon Valley. I have seen a lot of these agreements. I'm very familiar with special tax districts, definitely familiar with development agreements. When I was in the mayor's office, God knows how many of these would come across our desk for, proposed ones that would make it to city council, ones that would make it to the redevelopment board, which was the equivalent of our CFTOD in terms of redevelopment. So by the way, I did my homework. I already read everything from the board minutes on Thursday, Andrew, just so you know. So thanks for having me. But most of what's happened, just to give folks at home a backdrop, is that there's been some news about what Disney's done with their launch of this Tiana's Adventure and the theme park. That's been a bit of a misfire. Out in California,
how's the Acolyte doing, Mike? How's that doing?
Acolyte's tanking. Tiana's Bayou Adventure, is not hitting. It's already stopped working. The reviews are bad. And of course, let's not forget that we had a over $1 billion charge off when they had to close the hotel last year. So if you look at their last three major initiatives in the retail space, whether it's the Acolyte more recently, whether it's the park, whether it's their hotel division, in my opinion, the first thing the backdrop that we have to look at is that in their latest hotel offering, their latest theme park offering, and their latest media offering, they're all three failures. And
yes.
And in Disneyland, Andrew, what happened about a month ago, I'm not sure if you saw this or not yet, but about a month ago in Orange County, they received approval for their expansion out in California, where they've got some land and some big parking lots, and they're calling it their Disney Futures Project. And they have been working on this for a long time. And so now they're proposing an expansion on the west side of Disneyland. Now, So that was a month ago. That happened a month ago. I'll put the link in the private chat in a second.
Sure.
And now what we have coming up, or what we've had more recently, is their upcoming response to Epic Universe, which is this land development agreement, which I find incredibly amusing, Andrew, because for those who have been keeping score at home, for those of you who've been doing an Andrew Legal Mindset baseball card, that would be home runs in every single frame of the Disney lawsuit. Okay, if this were a baseball game, Andrew is 42-0 in the 9th inning.
It even gets worse in this agreement. I'm actually reading through this. I'm like, Disney has absolutely bent the knee. I'm going to explain to you guys in this agreement, like they are burying the fact that this is absolutely Disney and Iger bending the knee to Florida. And Florida could be, you know what the funny thing is, DeSantis and the people in Florida and the CFT could be taunting and, doing a victory lap and popping champagne and really rubbing Iger's nose in this. They're not, right? But they could be. But if the tables were turned, if the situation was flipped, they absolutely would be rubbing their nose in this, right?
And one other thing I want to throw in the mix here, that of course you predicted this years ago, from the political side. We just had reports from that Park Place and our friend WDW Pro Jonas Campbell that according to documents, Disney is now donating to don't say gay Republicans back in Florida again.
Oh, it's weird how that works. How they're gonna have to, and when they need to get these development approvals from local politicians, how they're gonna need to donate to Republicans because that's by and large who controls the state of Florida. Oh, it's so weird how they have to do that now. It's so odd.
Yeah, so to go back over the 5 points, and then I'll turn it back over to you. Number one, and this is for the folks at home because I've been going pretty fast. Number one, we've had major failures in Media Acolyte, Parks and Themes and Entertainment, which is the ride, and we've had failures with hotels. So this is a company that can't do anything right from where I sit, and they have now a month ago gotten a huge approval for Disneyland expansion in California and now this development deal in Orlando. And if you add to the backdrop Mosaic, they are now donating again. This Don't Say Gay bill company, that had all these lawsuits. They're now donating to Republicans that stood strong with DeSantis. They are now trying to work, and there's no mention that they've literally bent the knee. And I am just in shock that DeSantis, frankly, and the Central Florida Tourism Oversight Board are being super cool. I think as we get into this agreement,
very civil. They're being extraordinarily civil with people that were, frankly, in terms of PR, pieces of shit, and they were liars. And all of their media was complete bullshit. Right, all of their press and PR that Disney put out, which we exposed for over a year of coverage, almost 2 years of coverage on this issue. It's crazy it went on that long, but 2 years of covering this, everything Disney put out was bullshit. And even now, while it's not bullshit, it's holding back the fact that Iger is completely capitulated. He has completely lost all the points. This agreement actually represents a concession of every single thing he was arguing in the lawsuit. Every single thing that they thought, oh, we have a right to put restrictive covenants. No. In fact, we're going to see in this agreement, there's a specific clause that says that is illegal, that is impermissible, and they shall not do that, right? And that is exactly what they were trying to do. It's so fucking crazy how just line after line, you see loss, 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 loss. Of course, they're going to try to frame it as a positive thing. And frankly, right, it is positive for them insofar as if they didn't agree with the state of Florida, if they didn't bend the knee, they wouldn't be able to build anything. They wouldn't. In fact, we're going to see on their list of improvements, they have stuff they need to build this year. If they didn't come to this agreement, the stuff they need to build this year wouldn't get built. That's how desperate Disney was. They literally, I'm not even kidding, we're going to see this. They would have trash mounting up at their facilities because they're unable to install a food waste center to actually handle the amount of trash coming out of the theme parks, the hotels, and the facilities. That's how bad this is. Like, this is really embarrassing that they pushed it to this level and they had to wait this long to get this done. One Dickhead, thank you for the 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Appreciate it so much. Super based of you. And thank you, Mike, for that summary. It was a very, very good summary there. Do appreciate that. And I do want to get into, perhaps we'll have another episode, or perhaps I'll join someone else's stream as well to talk about the California development, what's coming there, what's the plans there. Well, I'm not a California lawyer, because I am generally familiar with property development all around the United States. I've read a lot of developer agreements in general. That would be very interesting for me to go through. So perhaps
57 acres in California.
That's pretty big. It's pretty big.
It's pretty big, and anyone that's been to that park recently, I was there February of last year, so I haven't been there in a year and a few months, but the existing park is tired, it's old, it's not very enticing, and I've got some, after we get through the Florida agreement, I've got some opinions about all of these projects.
Well, and here's my one thing, and I'll say this real quick, we can talk about it at the end too, but I'll say this, is that if they go ahead and do what they did with Galaxy Edge ×5, if they go ahead and make failed concept after failed concept after failed concept, it won't matter if they make a 5th theme park or a 6th theme park or a 7th theme park. If they continue to waste billions of dollars in horrible projects, it is not going to work out for me. And by the way, let me comment on the stock here, right? Obviously, we're still not back to their peaks. Like even at the highest run there, it didn't even get close to where they were back in 2001, 2002, right? Definite dump from there. Although this is hashtag not financial advice, see the banner, right? Things aren't looking good in that realm for Disney. But that said, they've done nothing but with their parks make bad choices and lead to things like the Tiana remake, right? And lead to projects like Galaxy's Edge that are not bringing in people vis-a-vis Universal, which is getting massive popular IP and just letting it rock, right? I mean, can you imagine what Disney would have done in the face of the pushback against J.K. Rowling? Right. And what they would have done in terms of her properties, they would have either tried to remove them altogether, or they would have tried to change them or, alter them in some way or whatever to make it to Disneyfy it. Right. In their own way. So, it's going to be a W for, I think, Universal in the long run. But and the other thing I want to mention here, too, is even if Disney started right now on a 5th theme park, which once again, they actually haven't done yet. They have not done anything in terms of the construction or even some of the preliminary planning that needs to be filed. They haven't done any of those things yet, other than this agreement, which we're going to talk about. They haven't done any of that. Even if they started, it's going to be 5 years minimum. In Florida, construction of a theme park is going to take minimum 5 years, even if they rushed it. So we'd be talking about a 2030 theme park project, right? That's not going to be on the same timeline as Epic Universe. Epic Universe is coming online, this year, next year? I haven't actually checked the date. Epic Universe opening dates. I think it's 2025, right? So it's 2025. So it's coming online within a year. There's no way they've got something to come online within a year. They just don't, right?
And Bob famously, after he beat Peltz, one of the quotes I found most hilarious was that he said that we've known for several years that that Epic Verse was coming, and we're just not worried about it, Andrew.
Right.
We're just not. We're not, Andrew. We're.
It's so beneath us. It's so beneath us, right? Iron Mexican be like, sure, I'll have countless children toys on my desk, but big boba anime figures—that's nerd shit. That's funny. Doug is fun also says, Mexican Iron Man, how did you get across the border? Did you get in the United States? Did you swim, jump, or go into the wire? Guys, he's Iron Man. He flew over, guys. Come on.
I flew over.
Come on.
I got the helmet and everything over there.
He's ready to go over. Dung is fun says, is there going to be a flag? It's Pride Month. Yeah, we don't have any flags here on the legal mindset. I'll tell you that.
No.
Is Disney, this is Yinka, is Disney desperate to open a theme park in Texas?
There's no way that's going to happen. They've got enough problems politically in Florida. There's no way they're going to go in there. There's no way.
That would be such a nightmare for them to try to get approvals there. I mean, because they have no existing relationship. In Florida, look, they've damaged the relationship, but they do have existing relationships. And they do have people that do support them locally. So they're a little bit more invested in Florida. Kid Loco said Disney equal Kurosanji and losing everything for a bad deduction and fuck up everything because it's a parallel world or something like that. Yeah, I mean, if Niji Sanji was a US company and had a theme park, it would be Disney World. I will tell you that. But They do screw up everything. In fact, one thing I'll mention, I was just back in Florida and I took the Bright Line from Miami to Orlando, and it just
how was that?
shocks. It was great. I loved it.
Really?
It was so easy. I mean, the thing is, Mike, when you compare a train to a plane and the amount of bullshit you have to deal with getting on a plane versus a train, and the fact that I can pop open my laptop and work and sit back in a comfortable chair. I was in the premium class, which was just $100. It was worth it. Totally worth it. Right. It went smoothly to the airport. You can get up and get around. I got a bunch of snacks and drinks, very friendly staff. It was largely automated, very clean. I would take that all day, every day. And the fact
and where's the terminal point? Where does it end at in Orlando?
No, it drops off at the airport, and Disney passed on having a spur connect to Disney Springs.
What a freaking bunch of morons.
Because they're fucking idiots. Right?
We don't need no train. We don't.
Yeah, and now it still takes as long as driving, but the point is that the matter is, look, sometimes I don't want to drive from Miami to Orlando. I just want to chill and I'll sit back. And when I was there, I was looking around. There were Chinese tourists there. There were Latin American tourists there. There was a lot of tourists and professionals, lawyers and professionals. And I'm saying, you know what? You messed up, Disney. Like, you're just messing up because you started fights. You started up at the wrong time, and you messed up on opportunities. That said, let's jump right into this. So we've got the CFTOD meeting. I'm just gonna play. I'm going to play the clips from the portion at which they're talking about the meeting. Public comment is just 2 people, although I may show a little bit of public comment just to show you what bribery looks like, because one of the people, well, actually both of them try to bribe them, and this is actually something illegal. So I'll tell you about that. But this is the new board, just so you know, the former head, who was amazing. I remember we both loved him, Garcia.
Oh, I love that guy. Oh my God, I loved him.
He was on top of it. He stepped down. He's got other stuff to do. But Charbel, who is a person who I have worked with personally during his time in DR Horton, which was one of my clients, right? I did represent them, and I've worked on several special districts with Charbel. He's super intelligent. He knows all about special districts. He actually won Jeopardy. You can look him up. He's like a big winner on Jeopardy. Super smart guy. He's now the chairman. So, and by the way, he did a moment of silence for both D-Day and Tiananmen Square, which is absolutely based. And, people often forget that both of those events happened in this month because they're so focused on, what other things, the flags of this month. And they forget D-Day and Tiananmen Square, which are 2 huge events, which should always be remembered. But let's get into here. This is the public hearing on the developer agreement. Now, just so you guys know, Disney did not appropriately advertise these developer agreements when they tried to do it themselves when they controlled the district. So these guys are doing it right. You have to have 2 meetings. They have to be public hearings, meaning people, the public, get to comment. And they actually went out of their way to change the public comment period to give people more comment on this topic. So all you need to do for public comment in a government meeting is let people speak at the beginning of the meeting. But they actually allowed public comment after this is presented to let people absorb the information, have a time to comment on it or think about the details and comment on it. So they went above and beyond what they had to do legally to give more transparency, which is light years ahead of Disney that would not advertise these meetings properly, would hide in a closet, would make it inaccessible to the public, and unfriendly to the public, et cetera, et cetera. This is just like a world away from what used to happen at Disney. So let's continue here with the meeting of the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. This was June 5th Eastern Time, and this is the successor, of course, to RCID, which is not going anywhere.
Agenda, consideration of the Chapter 163 Development Agreement, first reading. This is a consideration, the first of 2 public hearings to consider a request for board approval of a Chapter 163 Development Agreement between the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District and Walt Disney Parks and Resorts U.S. Incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, the development agreement for your consideration was negotiated in good faith and pursuant to our settlement agreement with Disney. The 15-year agreement is intended to make significant capital improvements within the district. The district agrees to update our comprehensive plan and land development regulations and provide infrastructure consistent with those plans.
And they have to have a second meeting, which they will have next week on this. So you have to have 2 meetings. They're going to have 2 separate meetings on this. So just so you guys know, there probably will be more comment next week or more questions next week.
Going forward, if it is acceptable to the board, Catherine Lutzow, Manager of Planning and Engineering, will present the details. Catherine, the floor is yours.
By the way, if you're in Florida and you want to go to this meeting, a great question for the next public comment period, if someone wanted to ask, is, hey, can any of you explain, the potential for a 5th theme park and what that, and how this would affect that? That would be an awesome question to hear them respond to it and their kind of comments on it, especially since Disney is attending this meeting. You're going to see that. So if anybody happens to be in Florida and attend, good question. And remember, anybody can attend these meetings. You do not have to live in Disney. You don't have to live nearby. Anybody can come. It's a public meeting for everybody to come to.
Good morning.
Morning.
As mentioned, I'll provide a brief overview of the request for a development agreement that was received by Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, Inc.
This is a staff member for the district, so she does not work for Disney.
Should note that this public meeting was advertised in our local Orlando Sentinel paper, and we did mail out notices to all applicable landowners.
And just to be clear, this is where Disney fucked up. Disney didn't notify everybody. This is where they fucked up big time.
Which you were the first to catch. You were the first to catch instantly way back when.
And you know what they ended up doing? Charbelle's going to say it a little bit later. But they actually ended up this time going above and beyond, and they sent notice to not only all the landowners, but also people that leased property, which is super cool of them to do because they did not have to do that. So sending out money to everybody that not just owned property, but leased property, rented property, that is great. That is amazing. So a big points for them on that.
So this proposed development agreement covers 17,000 acres approximately of land within the district that is currently owned by Walt Disney Parks and Resorts and their subsidiaries. I will note that there is no district property covered under this currently.
So this is a difference from the original agreement. In the original agreement that Disney tried to pass, the illegal agreement they tried to pass in February of last year, that one did cover district property and it tried to restrict district property. That is illegal. So those illegal provisions have been removed from this. So that's completely stripped out. Once again, Disney conceding that as a L because they've taken out district property from being bound by this agreement, which is huge.
The agreement, as mentioned, is for a 15-year duration, and the overall intent is to ensure that the district's capital facilities planning and comprehensive planning coincides with the development planning. In terms of agreement highlights, Disney is currently planning up to $17 billion of capital investments within the district in the next 10 to 20 years, with a commitment of $8 billion in the next 10 years.
Okay, so let me stop right there. We're going to see the terms, but this is very important. So this is not an Amber Heard promise. For those that watch Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, you remember the I pledge. Well, pledge doesn't mean for sure. Like pledge means like maybe, sort of, whatever, right? No, this is actually, and we're going to look at the development agreement. If they don't do this, it's all terminated, right? So they have to spend $8 billion in the next 10 years. Must, or the whole thing gets wiped. This is massive, right? This is the biggest get ever. And of that $8 billion, which they must do, or the whole thing goes, $4 billion of that, half of that, at least at a minimum, needs to go to Florida, right? That is crazy. This is how Florida took the W here, right? They got a guaranteed $4 billion in spending from Disney. That has to be Floridian. They cannot put it to California communists. They cannot send it to China. They cannot send it anywhere else. I mean, they love sending money to China. They love sending money to California. None of that is possible. None of that is possible. But what is possible is 20 Legal Mindset memberships from MedMut. Thank you so much, brother. Good to see you too. He says for 10, good evening, Andrew and Mike. I believe Disney did not have a Brightline extension hub from the airport because Disney was not allowed to make the train look like a chick, be lame and gay. You mean Kathleen Kennedy didn't get a hold of it? You mean... Oh, God. And speaking of which, Charlie said real quick, they bought Star Wars from George super cheap, considering what Star Wars was actually worth back then. Now they destroyed their brand so badly, it wasn't worth a fraction of what they paid for it. That is Very, very, very much.
Which,
true.
by the way, Charlie, good observation, because that's another reason why Star Wars will not be sold by Disney, because the capital charge-off loss would be so high, it would tank their stock even further. There's no way someone's coming in and buying that thing.
Yep. And this is the type of financial like realities that people don't talk about. And this is why I love having you on, Mike, because you can be like, yeah, financially, this would sink them, right? That would ruin them. So there you go, guys. Practical reality, something that maybe the pixie dusters, the Disney folks aren't as good at, but we got that here. I'll get the rest of these super chats. Actually, I'll get this one here because it's related, but I'll get the others after. Charlie says, you don't understand. She pledged the whole amount. Her dog stepped on a bee. Have a heart, Andrew. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't empathize with the woman who pooped on a bed. I'm so sorry. Let's continue here.
There are provisions for buy local initiatives, including a minimum of 50% of goods and services related to the design, development, and construction to be retained with Florida businesses. There is $10 million going to attainable housing projects.
Okay, real quick. Mike, did you hear the special word there? What did you say? What type of housing projects?
Attainable. What does that even mean? I think she meant
you.
sustainable.
It doesn't mean sustainable, and it doesn't mean affordable.
No, it doesn't. It just means attainable, meaning that they are going to build $10 million worth of housing that they can attain. Attain means like get the permits, find a contractor, and get the shit built and sold or rented out.
There's some terms in there. We'll see the terms. There is like an either or. One of the options is to donate towards affordable housing, but the other option, use the word attainable. Attainable is not a legal term. And there's a lot of times when people will use these weasel words, these legal weasel words. This is 100%. I'm telling you right now, as somebody who actually worked in affordable housing in terms of bonds.
Yeah, like I was about to bring that up.
Legal definition. There's a legal definition of what affordable housing is in this.
Right. So when we would get these developers that would put this crap in there, we would literally add, no, you must specify it will be Section 8 qualified for that program, and then that, or, the median, the state medium for low income wage in the county, whatever that is.
Because Archestrel said this, and this is not a super chat, but it's smart enough. I'm going to mention it. 5 attainable houses at $2 million. If your neighborhood, if you're talking about celebration, if every house is $1 million, an attainable house might be one that's 750,000, right? That's attainable in that community because, oh, wow, it's less than the median, right? That's attainable. Oh my God, it's attainable, right? It's all about what community, where are you building it, attainable for who is attaining it, right? So this is where I don't trust that. However, I will say this: if they are committing funds, right, that's better than nothing, right? And this is a hard commitment to give some amount of funds. So it's something, but it's not what they're pitching it as. So don't believe Disney's bullshit. With a lot of their DEI stuff and a lot of their, we're helping people out, our social initiatives, they're all bullshit. They're all just weasel words. Do not trust it at all, right? So this is something very, very important here.
And there are provisions for land as well as wetland and threatened and endangered species mitigation credits being donated to the district for our public infrastructure facilities and projects in support of this development. So
this is actually pretty big. And I know I talked about tossing turtles. Some of you may remember this and have not forgot it. We have these things called gopher tortoises in Florida. They're actually kind of cute. If you haven't seen them before, and they're native to Florida, right? And they're quite common, especially in the area where Disney's at, right? Here you go. I'll show you guys some gopher tortoise real quick, some real spicy tortoise stuff. Don't get too excited. So for example, if you've got these tortoises on your property, you actually have to take care of them. This cute little guy right here, right? You got to take care of him. You can't just abandon him and leave him to die, right? So what would happen is with a lot of these districts is the developer would take the credit that they need to develop land, because whenever you go to build something, you need to buy an offset on what you're destroying. So all the wildlife you're killing, all these gopher tortoises you're smashing or you're relocating, you're supposed to buy credits to offset your slaughter of the gopher tortoise. So they have done that. And in fact, as part of the settlement agreement with Florida, they agreed that they own the credits, the wildlife credits. However, whenever you donate land, right? So if you give land to the city becomes responsible for taking care of Mr. Tortoise here. So that costs money. You actually have to pay thousands of dollars to do upkeep, to take care of them, to send people out to monitor little baby tortoise over here. That costs money. And a lot of times that cost is pushed off on the city or the state or the special district. Well, actually, they've gotten a huge W here by forcing them to give them the credits, to give them these mitigation credits, these wildlife credits that are associated with taking care of these little tortoises, of this little guy here. So
and for those at home that may not understand this, these are actually valuable. Like this coal credit,
yes, very valuable.
They're literally like, in terms of land use and development, they are literally like casino chips at the property development casino table in Vegas. That is literally what they're like. They're literally like valuable chips.
Yes. Yes. And as a professional gentleman said, yes, buying credits pays for conservation efforts to protect certain lands and its inhabitants. Correct. Yeah. So you need to have these credits in order to protect that. So they're going to take those and actually give those over. A lot of times this is a big contentious issue with development, and it's a huge fight. It sounds stupid. It sounds like the dorkiest thing ever, right? And some people said this sounds like commie shit. Well, guys, you have no idea what's going on at the local level. At the local level, we've got a lot of stuff that, makes Karl Marx blush, right? But this is just what we have. It's the reality of how development works in 2024. Is there's a bunch of systems and approvals and credits that you have to do to build everything. I'm not saying I agree with them. In fact, most of the stuff I disagree with, but that's the way stuff is done.
That's
right?
the reality. It's crap, but it's reality.
It's reality. And on other channels, maybe people tell you the way they wish it would be. And, oh, we wish it was this libertarian, dream world where you can just do whatever you want, whenever you want with your own land. That's fine and good as a wish, but that's not reality, right? That's not how it works. Let's continue.
In return, the district is planning to provide those public services and facilities necessary to support Disney's investment. In addition, we are committing to updating our land development regulations by September of this year and to finish our comprehensive plan update by the third quarter of next year. And finally, we are ensuring that we will continue the coordination and making sure we have the landowner support regarding these capital improvement projects. Overall, this proposed development agreement promotes growth and development not only throughout the district, but the surrounding areas. It will be a benefit to all of the Central Florida economy, creating jobs, as well as additional state and local revenue. It reestablishes and reaffirms that public-private partnership between the district and Disney, and as mentioned, has been negotiated in good faith, meeting our commitment within our settlement agreement.
So this is actually really important. So we said there's a settlement agreement is between DeSantis, between the state and Disney. If they didn't negotiate this, if they just said fuck off, the district or Disney, either one would have been breaching their settlement agreement. It would have been on like Donkey Kong for them to get trounced in court, as well as I said before, I think if they went down that road, Disney would eventually catch some criminal charges, right? I think there definitely would have been that coming down the road if it had gone gloves off, mask off down the road. That said, they said, okay, we're going to play nice. So if they were not to negotiate this, that would be a problem. Now, both parties have now negotiated this in good faith. So they've satisfied their requirement. At this point, if either party balks on it or cancels it, there's no requirement going forward. So if Disney does not invest here, they have no right to have any further approvals. They're going to have to negotiate. And by the way, in 15 years, when this is up, they're going to have to negotiate again. So they're going to have to play nice. Disney will have to continue to play nice. This is not something where they can just tell Florida to fuck off, which is very important because you understand, especially as we're going into election season, we're going to continue to have, elections in Florida and politics in Florida, things passing in Florida. These things are going to be contentious. And if Disney wants to keep taking political positions and attack the state of Florida in the future, that may not work out well for them. Right, going into the future.
In fact, I would suggest that they basically said that Bob is basically saying that for the next 15 years, we are not going to fuck with Florida.
Yes, they cannot.
Would you agree with that? That's how I read into this when I read all this crap.
They cannot fuck with Florida for the next 15 years. It's just not possible. By the way, guys, 666 of you in the chat. So for the demonic number here, let's all smash a like button here. We're only at 200. We're at 670 now. Thank you for getting me off of that. But let's get up to 350. Let's get up to at least 350, guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for this. Thank you for enjoying my Disney coverage as well. I really appreciate that you guys still get so many people in here to check out this coverage. All right, continue.
Finally, it provides that critical planning aspect so that the district can make sure our public infrastructure and facilities are provided ahead of the development demand, ensuring that we have efficient use of our resources. This benefits not only both parties of the agreement, but all of the district's guests, visitors, employees, and residents, as well as our surrounding neighbors and communities. As such, staff has reviewed this agreement, and at the end of our public hearing process is recommending that the board review and approve this development agreement. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you to you and your entire team for, I know there was a lot of hard work that went into this in a short period of time, so I can't thank you all enough. Does anyone have any questions for Catherine before we move on?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Does a representative from the applicant, Walt Disney
So
Parks,
Disney's going to come up.
make any comments?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the board. Woody Rodriguez, Director of External Affairs for the applicant.
Is it just me, or does Disney always have characters with the weirdest thing? Like, I'm sorry. I mean, Woody is it's a little funny they sent Woody over here. I'm just throwing it out there.
Did he say Woody Rodriguez?
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
look, I'm Mexican. I got a huge family. There's not one Mexican in my family named Woody.
Woody.
No.
Speaking of Mexican questions, Duncan's fun asks, Mexican Iron Man, why are Mexicans not allowed in the Olympics? Here's why: they can jump, they can swim, and they can crawl. They're very proficient.
Well, fun fact, we never win jack crap in medals in the Olympics. Like never, ever, ever. Like, unbelievably, you
It's
think
rigged.
like at least you think we'd place in swimming? Nope. Nope.
Come on.
You think we'd place
Come
in
on.
like the high jump? You think we'd jump in the wall? You think we'd place in the high jump? Nope.
Listen, you know what, Mexican Iron Man, they just need to put green cards on the other side instead of medals, right? I mean, that would.
We don't even need that as bait anymore. We just come across now.
That's true. The incentive would be too
The
low.
incentive
That's
is
true.
gone. It's now a WIC card and a free cell phone.
Let's go here.
Just want to thank the board for bringing this matter, your consideration of this agreement this morning, and especially thank your district administrator, who's definitely hit the ground running. So we're appreciative. The development agreement will enable us to continue to invest significantly in the district to benefit all parties, and we hope that the board votes to approve it at your next public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, and thank you for your efforts. I appreciate you being here today and the effort to get it before the board as well. Stephanie, before we get further into it, I believe you might have some additional changes to the development agreement between SIF Todd and Disney that I would appreciate it if you could present these.
So these are minor changes. They'll be reflected in the next version, but these are largely like Scrivener's errors or clarifications, and you'll see her explain them. Because when we go through the agreement, it's going to be without these changes. They passed out a version with the changes at the meeting. They'll have that updated for the next version. This is normal. You are allowed to do it. It's not illegal. And when you get the final approval, the second hearing, you'll have to have the full complete version, which they will have in the record.
We go to public comment.
Sure, and I'll put a copy by each of yours with a tab. Also, if anyone from the public would like a copy, I've highlighted those changes in this. I'll put it at the end of the table. We can provide that to you. If you'll look at page 4, that's the first change that we've included. We're just reiterating in this document that we are currently in the process of updating our comp plan, so we included that language in there as well. If you look at page 7, there's a reference to section 252.363. After further research, we determined that that was not appropriate in that statute does not deal with development agreements. Therefore, we just eliminated that language. And then if you look on page 16, we as staff get caught up in the acronyms that we use, and
These people are dorks. They use a shit ton of acronyms.
and to eliminate that, so when the general public reads this, And any normal person who doesn't deal with some of the things we deal with every day, it's spelled out for everyone. So we had put T&E and we changed it to threatened and endangered species credit donation.
Yeah, because some people might think T&E is like, I don't know what, tits and entertainment, right? No. T&E means threatened and endangered, guys. Come on, calm down. I know you get excited. You know, what was that Wolf of Wall Street? It's T&A, right? T&E.
Yeah, tits and entertainment. Not, yeah, it's supposed to be travel and entertainment, but it's tits and entertainment.
Yeah. Same thing, right? No, they're talking about threatened and endangered species, i.e. the turtles. Think of the turtles, guys. Think of the turtles, okay? We'll get some public comment here and then we'll close.
Those are the 3 changes that we would recommend you consider today before you open it up for public comment.
Okay. Stephanie, thank you. And I know those changes came from some internal considerations and you know, right up until last minute we've been working on this thing. So I appreciate those suggestions. I believe before would it be appropriate, council, I mean, to have the public comment and then vote on those changes? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. In that case, we will move to the public hearing and to public comment. I would like to reiterate what Catherine said. We advertise this meeting and next week's final meeting, June 2nd, 7:30 p.m. On the development agreement in the Orlando Sentinel.
Unlike Disney.
Record letters to all the property owners, given proper legal notice.
It's June 12th, not
all
the 2nd.
property owners in the district.
Yes, June 12th.
Yeah, he screwed up.
Yeah, it's fine. It's written the right way. As long as they send it out the right way, you can. If he most misspoke, it's not material.
Those who are major property lessees within our district.
So there you go. I said it. We sent out the notice to lessees within the district. That's huge.
Effort to make sure that the word is out about this development agreement in the interest of full transparency and the spirit of sunshine in which this district operates. It is very important so that everyone have an opportunity to comment on the agreement presented today. All those interested and impacted by this development agreement in the area. A general reminder with that, so we're going to have an opportunity for public comment. We will have further opportunity for public comment at the meeting next week. I can't emphasize that enough. It's a new era in this district. This is a weighty task in front of us, and we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to speak and be heard on this issue. It is important for us to receive public comments to enact the will of the people. And a general reminder, this is a time for public comment, not a question and answer period for the board. With that, are there any members of the public who would like to speak concerning the development agreement? I have 2 names in front of me. We'll start with Sherry, is it Chiaffi of the Millennium Restaurant Group? Why don't you step forward, Ms. Chiaffi, introduce yourself. I'm not Sherry. Sherry and I are trading spots, if that's okay. Are you George? Okay. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and start with George. Is it? Okay.
We'll just do this one public comment. We don't need to do the other one because it's just kind of the same thing. And just real quick, guys, I got the volume as loud as I have it. I need to re-download the applet to boost YouTube videos. The problem with the audio is on their end. The CFTOD always has a problem like making their audio loud enough. It also is really that the people don't speak properly into the microphone. So mi scusi, there's nothing I can do about it. Sorry, guys.
Is it Miliotis?
Miliotis, you get a gold star for first time saying it right. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
And I appreciate the time and being able to speak. My name is George Miliotis. I'm the owner and operator with my wife of Wine Bar George at Disney Springs.
By the way, this is a very, if you've ever been there, it's a very high-end restaurant. They have a good brunch. I've been there a couple times. There's several locations, right? There's one there at Disney Springs. There's also a couple in other places. But yeah, he's a owner of a very high-end restaurant at Disney Springs, for context.
And I'm here to strongly urge that y'all accept this agreement. My wife and I's families, if you go back all the way to the 50s, have operated small businesses in Central Florida for about 100 total years combined. And the one thing that we're sure of is that investment and reinvestment guarantee growth and excellence. So when we see the $1 billion number in front of the investment that's on the table, we get very excited. And the excitement isn't just for us, I want to make it clear that there are 80 families that work for us. And then at the Springs, how many families are there? Thousands of families who work out of those restaurants very, very hard. And so we know that we're securing the future if we make this investment. And we really just plain strongly want to urge y'all to accept the agreement. And if you accept the agreement, maybe I'll bring some champagne to the next meeting.
That is a bribe. That is 100% illegal. Mike is laughing. If you approve it, I'm going to bring champagne. Mike, we all right? Are you all right there, buddy?
I can't.
Right?
This is the kind of crap that happens in Florida. You can't.
Yeah. In public, at a public meeting, he's like, I'm going to bribe you guys. I'm going to bribe you guys right now if you approve this.
And Andrew, we were on the live stream on this channel, and what did we cover about the problem of what the old board was doing with their?
They took bribes. The problem was, if it was the old board, Mike, if this was a Disney board, they would have taken a whole rack of champagne. They would have accepted that.
This tells me right here that there are guys like this all over Orlando, Disney Springs, that were regularly giving crap, giving gifts to everybody on that old Disney Reedy Creek thing that would never. This guy's so comfortable and used to it, he didn't even think that. These are his new friends. Hey, new people on the board, I'll bring you some champagne if you vote for that. What a moron.
This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. Like, this is just a blatant, like, hey, this is criminal, but you're exactly right. It shows the attitude. And I guarantee you, by the way, this stuff is what Disney takes all the time, right? Disney takes these under the table deals, he's greasing the wheel. I mean, Tiana's ride is probably greased with the, champagne, right? That it's not water flowing down, it's champagne flowing down off the ride from the DIE folks. So anyways, this is kind of, he supported it. There's another woman who, she owns a donut shop. She goes up there for like 10 minutes and she fluffs them up and says, thank you for approving this. And then she offers some donuts, which is once again, another bribe, literally 2 bribes in the exact same meeting. Now they all laugh about it. Clearly they're not accepting it, right?
But this indicates that if they're offering donuts and champagne at a public forum to approve something that's on their consent calendar, I assure you there's big money that's also moving here, there, and everywhere in the old Reedy Creek.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Real quick here, by the way, thank you for the $20 super sticker, Leprechaun Gold. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for that. Player said, hey, could you turn up the volume a little? Hard to hear compared to your voice volume. Yeah, sorry, it was maxed out. I will download the applet again for YouTube videos. I have 2 computers, a travel one and one that's in Bangkok still. So this one doesn't have everything downloaded on it. So that's what I'm missing. Sorry about that, guys. I'll download it before. It takes time. I got to set it up. So I'll get that done next time. Charlie says these hearings would be half as long if they stopped thanking everybody for everyone 3 times for each every little thing. Yeah, but that's how they go. It's a lot of glad handing. A lot of Florida development and all this is just kissing people's ass in public because it's recorded and it's on the record. So they thank everybody and their mother because they're trying to get all that on the record, right? Because there's a recording of you, there's a written record of you kissing people's ass. So, it is what it is. It's like politics, right? It's a lot of ass kissing. Let me read this last one. Don Comic says, let's go for the base chat in YouTube. We are the most base chat in YouTube. That's why you guys should join the Base Legal Mindset. Also, beware the pixie dust per the banner. What are your predictions for this new development? Do you think it's going to be damn them further, or are they good from a legal standpoint? So I think it's going to be good for Florida. Whether or not it's good for Disney is the question mark, right? Florida is going to make at least $4 billion off this at a minimum. So that's a win for Florida. Also, they're going to have to give money to Florida politicians. That's also good you can argue whether that's good or not good for Florida, right? I'll leave that up there where you guys think campaign donations are a good thing or nothing. But the $4 billion in literal construction related jobs, yeah, that's good for Florida. That's really good for Florida. And mind you guys, in terms of costs, because you're wondering, well, what is like 4 billion? How does that relate? Well, Animal Kingdom, the cost of building Animal Kingdom. Now, mind you, this is in $1999, but it was about $1 billion to complete. complete, right? So, I mean, Mike, what would you factor for inflation? Like if you did it today, it might be what, like 2-3 billion if we're like,
Oh, I think it would cost. I think it would cost even more because material costs alone have gone up 28% across the board in the last 3 years. So
let's pretend it costs 4 billion to build.
Yeah, I go an easy four.
Yeah, so that would be about their commitment. So they've about committed the equivalent of a theme park, right? In terms of what they've pledged, what they've not just pledged, but they've contractually committed to. So let's get to the meat of it, which is the actual agreement here. Oh wait, hold on. Before this, Einhender for 5 says, can we get some devil's advocate on that bribe part? For educational and from entertainment's sake, how would a lawyer defend the champagne? Here's the only way to defend it. In Florida, you are allowed to give things under $25, right? So if that champagne was worthless, if it was literally worthless, it was like shit champagne, like garbage tier, and it's under, you can justify it's like shitty champagne, it's under $25, you might be able to justify it. It still looks really fucking bad, right? It looks really bad. So you'd have to say there's no value to the champagne, like it was ruined or there was no monetary value to it. But I would never take that, right? I would never take that. AG Biochemist said 4 to 10 billion nowadays, and Mexican Ironman said those numbers make sense to me. So you're kind of co-signing it would take 4 to 10 billion to build a theme park nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if it was $2 Chuck, from Trader Joe's, yeah, you could probably donate that. Once again, you should avoid the appearance of impropriety. So I had districts I represented where people were going to be given a $20 gift card. I said, you know what, you can do it, but you shouldn't, because people are going to hold that against you. And also you get into a game where people try to give you a lot of small value gifts. And then there's the whole aggregate value question. So if I give out a bunch of $20 champagne bottles, in the aggregate, you're giving over, if I give 100 $20 champagne bottles, right? I'm giving out a significant amount that's far over the value, even if individually they're okay, right? That's not a good look. You don't want to go there, and you don't want to be dealing with like, is this a bribe, right? That's not what you want to be playing with. But that's the devil's advocate, right? You told me the devil's advocate, I can do it. Look at me. All right. So here we've got the agenda for the CFTOD, and we're going to get the actual development agreement. We're going to read through most of it, but not like we'll skim like stuff like the legal description because that's not necessary. And I'll give you a little bit of summary here. So this meeting was really only for the development agreement. There's really nothing else at this meeting, which is good because this whole document, this is the minutes, largely. Now, this is required by Florida law to post both the agenda, right, as well as what you're going to put in the meeting, right? That's required by Florida law. So here you have a kind of cover sheet which says, a staff recommendation is to approve this agreement. The background is that the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District and Walt Disney entered into a settlement agreement. That is after Florida took the W and the district took the W. And as part, both committed to negotiating. The proposed development agreement has a term of 15 years and includes conditions and terms that have been negotiated in good faith, right? So they were bound to negotiate in good faith. They were not bound to approve it. So at the next meeting, if they don't approve it, that's actually okay. They don't need to approve it. They just needed to negotiate in good faith, right? So that's an important distinction legally, is the good faith negotiation. But the general summary by staff is that the development agreement required the Walt Disney World Resort to make significant capital investment over an extended period, which will benefit the Central Florida economy by creating new jobs and generating additional state revenue and local revenues. In addition, Walt Disney is required to donate land for public improvement necessary to support a new development. The development agreement stipulates the CFTOD will provide public services and facilities needed to support Walt Disney World's investment. They will also update the comprehensive plan by the third quarter. So Disney tried to illegally update this. This is something that was rebuked and found that Disney, what they tried to do was actually illegal and impermissible, and they did not properly update the comprehensive plan. This is once again another thing where Disney was proven wrong and absolutely, blown out of the water by Florida and the CFTOD because they tried to illegally update the comprehensive plan. For those that don't know, the comprehensive plan is kind of how your area is going to grow in the future. And from time to time, you're required to update that. Disney tried to do this, but they tried to do it in an illegal way. They didn't give
Yeah.
proper notice or timing or anything. So that's why they got blown back up.
Which I want to highlight something that is that because they're even giving the tenants that are lessee tenants notice, that truly is not only the letter and spirit of the law related to giving everyone within this district notice that of what's going on, whereas Disney just didn't give a flying F about.
And here is the notice. Here's the meeting notice. This is in the Orlando Sentinel. If you are somebody in Central Florida, you might see this. You might look in the notice sections. Sometimes it's a little bit outside the notice section, but it's usually in the notice section. So there's the posted notice that they got out. And here is the form. Now, this is proposed by Todd Rimmer. I know Todd. He's actually a good guy, smart guy. He works for Disney. He always was pretty straightforward with me. But the interesting thing is this was also submitted to not just by Todd, but by Mr. John McGowan, the lawyer who was double dealing and could have been in deep shit because he was representing both Disney and the CFTOD. This guy, of all the professionals out there, this guy escaped probably the biggest bullet, not just in potential criminal charges, but also from like maybe being sanctioned by the bar. I don't think he would be disbarred, but he definitely would be disciplined in some way. At the very least, have a public censure for.
I have a theory that this settlement agreement and the missteps legally that happened, they all benefited this guy.
Yeah, this guy is like the biggest winner right now.
He is the biggest of this whole settlement thing, Andrew. The reality of the situation is, if you're in the know, you're in the know. You're an attorney. You don't understand this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If anything had gone this way, that way, or that way, this guy would have like been asked out. By getting the settlement and having all these cases tanked, and now moving this into let's talk about real estate, changing the convo from legal and gay rights and kids' school stuff into now we're talking about property and expansion and money and the construction. This guy right here is literally sitting back going,
yep. And mind you, nowhere in this agreement are we going to see First Amendment. Okay. So nowhere in this are we going to see free speech and First Amendment, because this has nothing to do with the fucking First Amendment. Guys, today, have you heard the word First Amendment at all till I just mentioned it? No. Remember, that was their whole argument, that all of this was free speech. This was all a free speech bonanza, et cetera, et cetera. That's nowhere in here. That's absolutely nowhere here. Einhander said, could you say it was just a celebratory phrase, like, I'll bring the beers and the cigars? If he didn't actually bring it, I'm assuming what I'm trying to say is like, I don't think what he said was illegal. It's not illegal till you actually try to do it. If he could just say he was joking there, that's fine, right? But if he actually tried to do it, that would be illegal.
The problem is that it wasn't. He said, "If you vote yes, then I will that." If then, if then. Those are the two conditions that are very much to bribe. Do you have intent? Is that intent led to a promise, and was that promise delivered upon contingent upon an act being done?
Yep. So here we go. We're going to go through the agreement. I am going to summarize this a little bit because I don't need to read every single word, but obviously it's between the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, which is the successor to RCID. RCID, which was controlled by Disney, will never be restored. Let me say that again. RCID is dead. It will never come back. The Disney defenders, the Disney simps, the people that were at these public meetings, the beta bobs that were saying,
Legal Eagles.
Legal Eagles. Yeah, Legal Eagle was on this. He was the biggest beta of all. And they were like, this is illegal. It's free speech. We're going to get our CID back. It is never coming back. It is a CFTOD forever now, which is out of the control of Disney. Now, Disney is allowed. They've been, working with Florida. They've been allowed to have some friendly people on the board. They have somebody that was appointed to the board that is friendly to Disney. So they're becoming more of a stakeholder here. But that said, that can change. Right? That can change if they don't play nice with Florida. This applies just to Disney's territory. So Exhibit A is the legal description. I'm not going to bore you with that. Legal descriptions are super boring, but it is just Disney property. It is not the public property. It's not the district property. It's very important because you can't bind district property. It's not something you can do. So that's something Disney tried to do, which was illegal. And it's very clear that's not the case here. Disney obviously owns a ton of the property, approximately 65% of the property. And they're considered the master developer because they pay the significant majority of the taxes collected by the district. They've developed it, and they're saying they plan to develop more in the future. This is, of course, to settle their settlement agreement. So this is to resolve the lawsuit, and it's pursuant to the Local Government Act, which is Section 163 of the Florida statutes. Once again, I have done dozens of these agreements, very, very standard. So here you go. They agree to make the investments of up to 17 billion. So one thing real quick, up to 17 billion does not mean they're going to invest exactly 17 billion. They can, and we're going to see this, invest a minimum that is short of that. So this is a little bit of stretch. And if you know with Disney, if you've followed Disney, and Mike, you followed Disney for years, Disney does have a tendency of over promising and under delivering. I think that's fair, right?
Disney and never, ever, 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 ever has done anything that it said when it comes to capex. It's called capital expenditure.
Correct.
What they announced has never been in line with what actually ends up happening for all kinds of reasons.
Right. So I would take this number, this $1 billion number here. I would take that with a grain of salt. The 17 billion. We're going to see the floor, but that is not it. So this is just talking about the benefits. When you're doing one of these agreements, you have to say this is going to be a public benefit. It's going to contribute towards economic development for Central Florida. It's going to contribute towards public improvements, public infrastructure commitments, right? And there's mutual agreements. The district is agreeing to help them out with the infrastructure part, particularly the public infrastructure, because the district can use bonds, which is what my specialty was in these types of bonds, can use public bonds to construct things like roads, pipes, pavement, stormwater facilities, right? In exchange, the developer will be able to develop the things they want to develop, which will be serviced by those improvements. So it's a benefit on both sides to have these agreements that the government is going to put in the public infrastructure necessary for them to build what they want to build, right? Because if you don't have roads leading up to your project, well, it's going to be really, really hard for that project to get off the ground. So that's kind of the crux of this. This says that in a very long-winded way, and that it meets all the requirements entitled under the statute, as required to enact this. Let's get into the actual terms, right? So here's the terms here. So they're acknowledging, right, that the currently approved uses are detailed under Table A. So we're going to look at Table A. And now they're looking to change to what's in Table B, right? So they're going to update to Table B. So let's go scroll down here and look at Table A. So what do we have approved right now? Right now, currently, we have approved 53,467 what they call keys. Now, keys is kind of a term of art that's related to hotels and motels. It essentially means rooms, but it's not one for one. Because, for example, a room with a certain number of, so for example, if you have a 2-bedroom, right, that might be a 2-bedroom unit, or one that's a larger unit, that might be 2 keys or 3 keys worth. There's kind of certain metrics of how many keys go with it. But essentially that's saying how many hotel and motel rooms can they build. It doesn't exactly mean 53,467, but it's close, right? But it's a close approximation there. So understand that of that, they've currently to date, they're allowed, right? This is what is allowed right now with no changes. They're allowed to build 53,000, but they've only built 39,000. So they haven't even used, Disney has not used up all of their ability to build that they can build so far. So this is already what's out there. They've got approved to 1,032, right? This is very interesting. 1,032,000 gross square feet of office. Mexican Iron Man, do you see a little inconsistency here?
I do. And here's the thing. What this is, I was shocked once I read this before the stream started. I was reading this stuff.
That they have violated the comprehensive plan and they're putting this in public.
Here's the thing. I expected that I was going to read that they're going to build something like the Epic Universe stuff, right?
Right.
Instead, I'm like, wait, what? Are we building a mall and some office buildings and we're going to rent this shit out? And I mean, what are we doing here? What are we really doing here?
Right. Clearly they put a lot of stock in office space, because if you look, they've almost got as much office space as they have restaurant space.
Absolutely, right? And I want anybody that's been to Disney World in Orlando or any of the theme parks, really, you don't even have to go to that one. You go to any of these. Imagine if you show up and you're all excited to see the new Disney development, and all the restaurants that you're used to seeing, there now is the same amount of like commercial buildings as if you're going to go see your lawyer or your accountant or your real estate, your real estate broker or mortgage lender.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it looks like they're running an Amazon warehouse here with this amount of square footage. So they're allowed to build more. So they're trying to build, obviously they currently have this, they're going to need that to be increased, right? But this is what they have approved right now. For restaurant square footage, they're way under. They're about 300,000 gross square feet under for retail and restaurant. They do have a significant amount there. Now, here's what I think people are really wanting to know. The theme park, right? We got the clickbait title here. So they're already approved for 5 major theme parks, and they're approved for 5 minor theme parks. Now, what does that mean? A major theme park is one like Animal Kingdom, is one like Magic Kingdom, is one like Epcot, right? Those are major theme parks. A minor theme park are generally viewed as the water parks, or if it was something like maybe just a play area, or something maybe like even like an ESPN Wide World of Sports, maybe it could be, considered that, but really a water park, right? A water park is considered a minor theme park. So they're already approved for 5. They can already build 5, right? And they've only got 4 major and 3 minor, right? So that's what they've got as of date. So this is what they're already approved for. So just so people know, right? Disney is already had the ability to build that 5th gate. They had the ability to build that 5th park, right? They were allowed to do that. They haven't done it. So this is not something that was held up by Florida. This is not something that was stonewalled by Florida. This is something that they themselves chose over the years not to do. Right now, they would need some development approvals. They need some other stuff to support that 5th gate, that 5th theme park. They would need that. However, they did already have this approval in the comprehensive plan. But let's continue. What do they want to do? Well, and this is also an important one here. Building height. Due to the unique nature of the buildings and attractions that constitute a theme park, building heights are to be controlled by the master developer to protect an immersive nature and aesthetic character of our future theme parks and buildings on the district jurisdictional property. Absent master developer approval, the maximum building height on the jurisdictional properties is controlled by the Epcot code and the FAA height standards, and any variance from such standards as approved by the FAA. So this does not apply to the district. So the district could build a giant, Disney State Prison sign that is, as high as it'll be allowed by the FAA, right? So the district, the CFTUD, could do whatever they want. But on the other property, all of the other property within the district, they're going to have to get approval. It's going to have to meet the Epcot building code. Now, the Epcot building code is maintained by the district. So the district could modify that building code. They could change it, right? So just so you know here, this is an interesting facility, interesting aspect here. So let's go to table B, because B is very, very, very important. And by the way, this part here talks about provision of public facilities, right, in a definition, right? So the public facilities we're going to see that they're going to need to install are listed in Exhibit D. We're going to review Exhibit D to see what they're going to build and how urgently they need to build it, because some of these things are super urgent. So when we go down here to table B, this is what they want approved, okay? So they want it upgraded to the same amount of hotel keys. So they don't need more hotel keys. They want the same thing. However, they want 220,000 more square feet of office space. So they're asking for way more warehouse space. They don't give a shit about retail. They don't give a shit about theme parks. They don't give a shit about anything. They just want office space. So Mike.
Fascinating.
You heard all this hemming and hawing about, we need an update. We need an update. What does it tell you that they just need office space and they really view nothing else as necessary?
I think what this tells me is that they are going to re-put online. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to put back online the whole plan that we discussed on this channel way like 2 years ago when I first came. It was one of my first live streams I did with you about the whole that people in California didn't want to move and they wanted to. They basically corporate headquarters, finance, accounting, a lot of the administration, because there's a ton of people in Burbank that they've been wanting to move to Florida for a long time. And there's a ton of theme park and real estate and other Disney park experiences people from other divisions that they've been wanting to put in Florida. I really think that they're trying to reposition this company for tax reasons and other reasons to move the people over there without making it a big deal that Disney is, quote, leaving California. But in essence, they essentially are. I mean, you're talking about this kind of office space. Who is it going to be for? They're not going to like rent it. Disney is not going to let other companies come onto their real estate property that they control and just run amok and do whatever they want. We know how Disney operates. They are control freaks. They are like the worst kind of landlords. It's like their way or the highway. So this isn't like they're trying to do some commercial development and, you know, bring in like, you know, Berkshire Hathaway to have corporate offices. Or no, this is some kind of move, and it's being couched as an expansion. The excitement is supposed to make it theme park oriented, like that guy that's, you know, offering up the free champagne. But in reality, if one reviews and reads this, the only people that are going to make real money are the people that you said, the contractors, you know, the grading, the water guys, the plant, you know, all of the infrastructure people are going to make money, and the fees are going to go to the state and the CFTOD. But in terms of anybody getting excited that you're going to get some kind of new sexy theme park, no, you will see buildings go up, and those buildings will be commercial and office oriented long before you will see Tiana's new ghetto adventure land.
Tiana's new Section 8 housing hotel, right? Yeah. Wouldn't that be great? You know, Tiana's Section 8 hotel. That'd be great. That'd be great. So real quick here, a couple things. So first of all, I completely agree with you in the assessment that I think this is a way for them to quietly quit California, right? This is a silent, hey, we're able to build more over here. Now, I will say, not Kay, I saw you in the chat, and what you said is minimum. But understand this is right. It does say minimum. This is the minimum that has to be approved in the updated comprehensive
plan. But see, the reason this is important are for the two things that you said earlier, which is that because Disney overpromises and underdelivers. So this is the floor that they're setting for themselves. And that tells us what their real intention is. It's what you said literally like 12 minutes ago, right?
This shows you what Disney wants. All that Disney cares about is this. The district could ultimately approve 10 theme parks and 10 major and 10 minor, and they could give them 2 million restaurant and whatever. They could do all that, right? They could really do all that. That's fine. They could approve that. But this is what Disney wants. So it's signaling what they want. And this is the sort of thing, guys, that quietly gets swept under the table. A lot of YouTube channels, they speculate, they say crazy theories, but they're not based on the reality of what's going on. And what the reality is that they're saying we need offices, which is frankly the only reason why you need office space, especially in 2024, when office space is plentiful, is if you are moving significant amount of people to a location, right? You should otherwise not really give a fuck about office space because you should be downsizing, right? But the only way this is relevant is if they're bringing people over, right? If they're doing a massive hiring, but I don't think they're hiring. I think it's moving, right? I don't think Disney is trying to hire a bunch of people. I do think they are trying to move them. So that is exactly what I picked up on that, right? So let's continue with this here. Although let me see if we got any super chats that are like on point. Reality Now says you may be missing one option. Maybe they're doing a virtual reality theme park. That could explain it. Well, look, if they do metaverse stuff or whatever out there, that's fine. You don't need approvals for that, right? That's something you would just go out and do. I think it would tank wildly. I think Disney trying to get in the metaverse would be a nightmare. I don't know what you think about that. You know, Mexican Airman. You're muted.
Oh, I think it's a nightmare waiting to happen.
Yeah, they're just going to bungle it like they do everything else. I mean, I think it would be an absolute crazy town. Charlie Spurs said Vox Akuma can save Disney, guys. Disney Channel Black Stream. Let's go. Oh my God. Don't combine VTubers and Disney. That's a nightmare. One dickhead said amateur radio operator. The FAA gets nervous when things get over 100 feet. I have to pull a permit through them for an antenna. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like 100 feet, you need a permit. That is pretty. That's government overreach. Look, I'm not trying to go full, you know, like libertarian here, but like that is crazy. Let's see here. So, okay, there's some important. I'm just going to get to the important provisions here in this agreement because, you know, guys, I've read a million of these, so I know what is and isn't important. A lot of these are just required provisions, like, for example, that development is going to follow the comprehensive plan, right? That's got to happen, right? And also that that if there's additional entitlements or other things that are approved, they're going to be vested. They're going to go to the master developer. That's fine, right? But anyways, here you go. So the reservation or dedication of land for public purposes. The master developer, so Disney, agrees to dedicate land for public purposes as set forth in the economic development terms. We're going to see below exactly what they're promising, because they're actually promising a very interesting type of deed. If anybody took my property law class or knows anything about property law, they'll know what a special warranty deed is. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But master developer makes no other contractual commitment for the dedication of land other than what's set forth. So they make some promises. We're going to get to that. Also, here's a huge one. Local development permits required. So what this means is they now have to, which they did not in the past, go to all these politicians. They got to go to Orange County. They got to go to Polk County. They got to go to the Southwest Florida Water Management District. They've got to go to all these people and start greasing the wheel. The rat has to provide some cheese, right? They got to
and they've got to go to all of the staff and all of the departments. And you and I know, Andrew, that that's a whole other like rigmarole that this company has never done before, which everybody else on the planet has to deal with. Like they're actually gonna have to be legit.
Yeah, and the thing is too, they're going to be public. Now, when Universal was doing its development approvals and everything else, everything was private. But Universal's always been public, but Disney has been private. They've been able to get these things done privately when nobody's seeing them. Now, whenever the new theme park is coming, we're going to get the plans of that theme park before it's released. So you guys are going to see a lot of details. Now, not everything, not all the specifics, but you're going to see a lot of details before they're released. And also they say here, hey, it's got to comply with local regulations. That's something they were previously exempt from. That's huge. So the thing is 15 years. It can be extended, of course, by mutual agreement. The governing law is the law of Florida, right? So this is not a federal case or anything else. Also, no liens or encumbrances. This is big because the Disney in the previous Reedy Creek tried to encumber all of the land in the district. But they're saying, no. This is not a lien or an encumbrance. It is just an agreement, right? Which is much, much different than what they tried to do, which was something illegal, which is record on the land without the approval of people that actually own the land. So they're going to have annual reports, annual filings, required notices by law. Let's get into the exhibits because the exhibits give some interesting details here, right? So we're going to skip the map. We don't need to talk about the map. That's not necessary, right? But we do need to talk about, and we don't need to talk about the legal description, the economic development terms and the capital improvement schedule and the list of permits, because that tells you who they're going to have to grease, who they're going to have to provide some sweet money to. So here's the map is included as Exhibit A and B, and they actually move those to the end for convenience. But here you see the terms. Okay, so here's the term of economic development. Here's the money they're going to actually have to spend. In furtherance of its plans to make significant capital investment in the project during the term of the agreement, Disney agrees to make it at least an initial capital investment of $8 billion within the first 10 years of the term of the agreement. Guys, this is the only term that's firm. And why is it firm? Because on or before the 11th anniversary, Disney shall submit a report prepared by a third-party independent auditor confirming the foregoing expenditure. Now, I know that gets you excited, Mike. I know that gets you excited.
It does.
I'm pretty sure that can't be PricewaterhouseCoopers, right? Which is their current auditor. I'm pretty sure that would be a conflict, right, Mike?
That would be an absolute conflict. So already we know that the press announcement of 17 billion is horse shit.
Yes.
And it's really 8 billion, and 8 billion is going to tie. When you go about 3 more pages down, it's going to tie back to when you see the permits that they're going to pull.
Correct. So this is the number you guys got to pay attention. They've only committed. So take 17 and make it 8. They've committed to 8. That's where we're at, right? Period. And that's the only. And this is a pretty firm 8 though. So the 8 is a good number, but it ain't 17. Land donation. They are required to donate prior to construction to the district. They're required to donate all of the land required for construction of public infrastructure. So roadways, travel shoulders, signals, signs, medians, trails, water, all the stuff has to go to the district, and they've got to give that to them. How are they going to give that? they're going to give that by deed or easement. But when there's a deed, it's by special warranty deed. Now, for those that don't know, this is very interesting. A special warranty deed, there's 3 types of deeds. There's a quit claim deed, there's a special warranty deed, and a general warranty deed. A quit claim deed literally is the trash tier of deeds. It says, I don't even know if I own this. I'm not kidding. When you give a deed, AAK, I'm giving property. I'm giving a property to Mike. If I give him a quit claim deed that says, I'm not even sure I own this. I'm not even sure who owns this. I'm not sure if this is the most fucked up piece of land ever. I may not even have seen this land. And I'm giving it to you with 0 promises. That is a quit claim deed. A special warranty deed says, I am giving you this property, but the only guarantee I'm making is that I did nothing to fuck up this land. That I, as the current owner, did nothing to fuck up this land. I'm not giving you any promises that a previous owner did not fuck up this land or do something weird with it.
And that's why there's the warranty is special, because it's conditional.
A general warranty deed is saying, I'm giving you this, promising through all time certain warranties, such as that this land is free and clear of encumbrances, that is free and clear of anything that would be burdening the property that I'm not disclosing, right? There's no material issues with it. There's no environmental issues. You're giving a whole bunch of warranties. Most times when you get a property, guys, you want a general warranty deed. You want promises that that land is free and clear, that you're not going to have to fight somebody over who owns the property, right? You're not going to have to pull out the shotguns and the lawsuits and end up in figuring it out. Now, this is interesting because this property was owned by shell corporations at one point. If you guys know the history of Disney, a bunch of shell corporations bought it out and then gave that property to Disney, to the Disney entity. So Disney is not actually guaranteeing that the shell corporations didn't do something to fuck this up, or that the people that they bought it from didn't fuck this land. So this is very interesting. And mind you that Disney controlled those shell entities. So they may have screwed it up with their own shell entities, and they're not even protecting you against that. They're just protecting you against the current owner of the property. It's very, very interesting.
And Andrew, why wouldn't an attorney like you, let's just say you were to work at Disney, why would you make it a special warranty deed instead of a general warranty deed? I don't understand.
Because they've probably done something to that property in the past, like putting on restrictive covenants, putting on claims, putting on
if this goes to a court procedure, if this property, if these deeds go into litigation, Disney is giving itself a backdoor out of being able to say, well, you agree to a special warranty on this whole deal anyways. We just discovered and found out. Oh, okay. Well, we just, it's basically they're giving themselves a special out.
And I guarantee you that this is a term that the district and the Disney went back and forth on. They probably wanted to give a quick claim deed. They probably started by negotiating. Disney said, we're going to give you a quick claim deed. And then the district probably said, fuck you, general warranty deed. And they said, all right, let's settle in the middle, special warranty deed, right? They probably settled on that. But it's a very, very interesting provision here.
Things like this test the meaning of the words good faith when you do these kinds of transactions.
Correct, because there's definitely was pushback there. Wetland credits. So they got to get the wetland credits. That's for taking care of the wetlands because Florida is mostly swamp, so you need credits there. T&E. It is not what you think. It's not TNA, guys. It's not TNA. It is threatened and endangered species. So they need to give those turtle credits over there. Turtle credits. Buy local. Now here's where we really get the money shot. This is what he was talking about earlier. So they are committed to its role in being an economic engine for the state of Florida. The master developer will implement a buy local program ensuring a minimum of 50% of all dollars spent go to businesses within Florida. They have to have a local business hiring program for construction and goods. A minimum of 50% of the value of all construction work related to the project shall be businesses located in Florida. So they can't be in communist China. They can't be California. They've got to be Florida. Master developer shall include regular updates to the district, right, regarding this. So this is why I say 4 million is a guarantee to Florida. And that's it. Because they've guaranteed the 8 and then they've guaranteed 50% of that. So Florida can celebrate at least 4 million, at minimum 4 million. I think that's a W. And last but not least, we got the attainable housing. So attainable housing, look at this, is defined as housing projects that provide significant relief to the affordable housing demands in a community. It doesn't say that attainable housing means affordable housing. It just means the affordable housing demands. So saying, oh, well, we're trying to alleviate the general demand, but what we're providing does not need to be classified as quote unquote affordable housing. And they've said, what we're going to do is we're going to commit a minimum of 10 million, which frankly, I mean, Mike, 10 million, in course of development.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go back to the example you used.
It's
I
fucking
mean,
nothing.
look, I have attainable housing here on Hilton Head Island, but, I mean, you go down the street and that's these 10 houses from here to there, we're done with attainable housing.
Right. That's like 5 houses, right? Like that's 5 $2 million houses. Okay. Or 10 $1 million houses. Okay. That's where they're committing to. Because look what they do here. Disney, at its sole discretion, so this is where they gave themselves the ability to be dicks, will either fund attainable housing by partial funding of construction costs for approved constructed attainable housing projects, or in the alternative by payment to the county or city affordable housing trust fund. And this is interesting because they can use this as a way to grease local politicians. So they can say, hey, look, guys, you want to get some bread and butter? We're going to put some money in your affordable housing trust fund. In exchange, how about you approve these permits? How about you approve these permits? So they can choose, are they going to use it to grease the wheels locally, or are they going to fund 10 to $1 million houses?
Basically, by putting that $10 million in the trust fund, then those local officials can go back on the campaign trail and say, hey, I got us more affordable housing units. Or I got some money.
Just went down to 1 house. Yes. Essentially, right? So half of it's going to be greasing and half of it's going to be, doing these quote unquote attainable $1 million houses. Okay. So that's the bullshit here. And guys, once again, this is stuff you only get on a channel like mine. Who else knows this weasel language from development agreements? Who else is covering this on YouTube? Absolutely nobody. So please smash the like button. And I hope you're subscribed to this if you like this type of coverage. I'm never going to give up on my Disney coverage, especially my theme park related development coverage. I'll be covering Universal as it comes through. So if you like this type of coverage, definitely stay tuned. And whenever there's major updates or things for me to talk about, I will cover them. So, just understand that my channel will always be here for that. So make sure you're subscribed if you do like this type of content. Now, let's continue here. We've got the public infrastructure. So let's see what Disney wants them to build. Mind you, this is what Disney is requiring the district to help with. Okay? So first is roads. They need to construct a 4-lane undivided rural roadway extending Walt Disney World Phase 2 to Floridian Place. This is World Drive North Phase 3. So they're trying to extend that road to complete in 2026. So that's a pretty quick timeline. Not too quick. Then you've got Western Way to Buena Vista. So widening that road to 6 lanes, including a flyover, right? And that's estimated for 2031. That's pretty significant, actually, going up 2 lanes and putting a flyover. Buena Vista, intersection 5, Disney Springs. They need to improve that to reduce nighttime congestion during nighttime closing. This is very much needed because it is a clusterfuck. Disney Springs is a clusterfuck, so this would be great. They need dedicated bus lanes from Bonnet Creek Parkway, my old clients, to World Drive. Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, I was negotiating the agreement between Bonnet Creek and Disney. I can say this now because it's all public. To add these bus lanes because they needed to take our property. Disney needed to take our property in order to be able to have property to dedicate back to the district to build these dedicated bus lanes. I've known about this for like 7 years, 8 years. They've been talking about these bus lanes. They thought it was going to be some next generation sort of transportation, but of course Disney is kind of cheaping out for now and just making it dedicated bus lanes. But yeah, that's coming. For 5-year district potable and reuse. So this is just water systems. So they're going to put in an indirect potable and reuse project. So that's kind of just to add extra support for their reuse water. Reuse water is typically used for irrigation. You cannot use reused and recycled water for drinking because it's not up to drinking water standards, but you can use it for watering grass, right? To construct a well to construct reclaimed water conversions. That's 2027, 2028. And also EPCOT to convert water for reuse. That is estimated in 2030. So that's all for changing water to reclaimed water, because reclaimed water is increasingly popular in Florida, especially as the Florida aquifer is being drained, and groundwater from the ground is more rare and hard to come by. So people are increasingly using reuse water. Reuse water is becoming more and more popular. Next, solid waste. Transfer station expansion. On a completion date 2027, so that's where you transfer trash, right? And expansion of the solid waste fleet, so garbage trucks to accommodate growth, that's just ongoing, right? And these trucks are owned by the district, right? The district. Stormwater, right? You would need, sorry, I skipped something. So here's district sanitary. So lift stations, that is for 2028. That's in order to pump from one area to another. There's a dewatering plant that's scheduled for 2026. But here's what I was talking about. 2024, they need them to immediately build a food waste transfer station. This tells you that they were currently having a problem. Disney had a current pending immediate problem with their food trash from their hotels, resorts, Disney Springs, and they could not keep up. This was an emergency. And that they think this needs to be done in 2024.
We're right here in June. They're talking 24. It's like 6 months.
Exactly.
So we're done in 6 months. We're done.
So this shows you how Disney is the one that needed to bend the knee, because they weren't even able to keep their shit together, i.e. their trash. Right. Wow. This is not hyperbole. This is, I mean, I've never seen something that goes down in a meeting literally in 6. We're in June, right? And you're saying this needs to be done before the end of the year. The government doesn't work that fast. This is insanely fast. So this to me is kind of shocking, but it just shows the urgency of this. So here we go. These are all the permits. So for every single one of these guys, understand this, all these permits we're going to see. In the past, Disney didn't have to ask anybody for permission. They were a honey badger. They did whatever the fuck they wanted to do. Now, look at everybody they have to bend the knee to, and they have to kiss the ass of all these people to get all these permits, right? South Florida Water Management District, that is a regional agency, right? Regional people. And guess what? They're not all Democrats, right? They're not all people that are left-leaning or whatever. This is a slurry of folks, Republicans and Democrats, right? They're going to have to play nice with all across a regional area to get water. This is for environmental permits and water permits. They're going to need approval from them. So they're going to have to play nice with all these folks. RCID dewatering, which will now be taken up, these permits will now be taken up by the CFTOD. So every time they need to pull water from the ground, right, they're going to need to go to the district, CFTOD, and also this regional district, the CFWMD. We called them SwiftMud, right? That was our local acronym for them. I don't really know why we called them that, because there's no U, right? But whatever, everyone all called them SwiftMud. I don't know. It's a Florida thing, guys. They have to get permits for planning consistency, planning concurrency, site permits, stormwater prevention, turbidity, civil construction, building permits, right-of-way use, right-of-way permits, maintenance of traffic, notice of intent for the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. So from the state, literally from DeSantis's state people, they're going to have to get permission, utility permits. Some of these things are going to have to come from the state. Some of them will come from local governments. This is a ton of people they're going to have to bend the knee to, which they didn't have to before, which is to me an absolute, 100% Disney L. They never thought they were going to have to do that, but now they've got to do that. So that's the important provisions there, guys. And this is why in the long run, when we look at this holistically, Disney clearly, when we look at this in terms of their lawsuits, whatever, they wasted a bunch of money, they wasted a bunch of time. And in the end, they've just got to bend the knee to the state, the county, the local government, and the state of Florida. The state of Florida won at least $4 billion on this, right? This is literally, it is not a clickbait headline to say Florida won $4 billion from Disney. Accurate, 100% accurate.
You predicted early on that they would have to retreat from all this legal crap because they wouldn't be able to conduct business. This is literally exactly what you said 2 years and however many months.
On the nose. I said, if Disney wants to build shit, they're going to need to play nice with Florida. And everyone's like, no, it's First Amendment. My Disney can do what they want. Don't pick on my billion-dollar corporation. How dare you? How dare you, sir? I told you so, guys. I told you so. Oh, this is also cool. Professional gentleman, one of my mods says turbidity means cloudy and murky water. So this means measures to reduce such. Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. Very smart. My mods are high IQ here. We are definitely high IQ. We're not.
Your entire chat is based as hell. They're intelligent. They're funny. They're smart. It's a great chat that you've got.
Yeah. And Jay said, I'm so glad there's people out there who can decipher the bullshit. It churns my stomach trying to read it. That's what I'm here for, guys. And that's why when I scroll through, I know what's important to read and what's not important to read, right? So I skip through the bullshit, cut to the actual material terms of the agreement, and get through it for you guys. I'm trying to make this both entertaining and educating, and hopefully you guys have learned. And a lot of people have said from my Disney coverage that they've learned how to evaluate local government. They learned how to read, property. They learned how to go to the property appraiser site, right? And they learned that from watching my Disney coverage and paying attention, and which I'm so glad I can do, is educate and entertain. But also super based here. We got two Chads. First of all, one dickhead coming through big here. Thank you, one dickhead, for not being a dick and contributing. But more than that, thank you for Mexican Iron Man, who while he's on, dedicated 20 Legal Mindset memberships. M's in the chat for Mexican Iron Man. Super gigabase, super great. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much. And thank you for being on. I really do appreciate it. We got some questions here. So let's say, but thank you so much. Appreciate that. Weird says, Mike for Australian 5, turn your channel into a group reaction channel. We need to show everyone indie stuff. Tell them about Hell's Reach, Digital Circus, MS Blue, Andrew.
So Blue, Digital Circus, I can't remember if I saw Hell's Reach, but they're all things that Weird has had me watch. I've got the videos. I never post them on my channel, but I'm not a YouTuber, and I never will be. I don't have the time, and I don't have the interest. No.
You should just have a clipper submit you clips, and we can just get it done that way. Just do it that way. Jay, get to 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much, Jay. Absolutely based. You're such a Chad. Or a Stacy. I don't know which Jay this is. There's a female Jay and a male Jay, so I'm not sure which one it is. But thank you, Jay. Appreciate you. Really now says they've screwed everything they touch. Why not add VR to the list? Yeah, virtual reality. We're not talking about Valiant Renegade. Nobody's screwing Valiant Renegade. He'll be just fine. But no, virtual reality, if they touch that, they would screw it up. They would screw it up. I guarantee you. Disney, and I think that Nelson Peltz is right to just let them screw it up, let them screw up all their ventures, let them tank, and then come in and buy low. Let the price dip, let it go down. Like I said, this is hashtag not financial advice, but just going back to that stock chart, right? Pulling out, right? We're on a downtrend right now. 5 years on the 5-year chart here. This is a downtrend, right? We had a little local top here at 115, but that's a lot shy from their, almost 200 value. We are way, way down from that, down 40% right now over the past 5 years. So this is not a good look for Disney, right? And certainly, I think there'll be opportunities to buy cheaper. I think that's fair to say. Weird says, you going to read YouTube's new anti-gun tuber TNC, known as the anti-Brandon Herrera update. Maybe on another channel. I do a lot of general updates where I cover a lot of stuff that's not related. So maybe on my next general news update, I'll do that, right? I do it on some of my member streams, so I will check that out. But I don't know about it right now. I'll have to read it and review it, but I'm always happy to talk about it. Guys, it's been super fun. Mike, can you tell us where you're going to be next? Obviously, guys, if you want to find Mike, he's extraordinarily based. He's such a giga Chad, right? You can find him on Twitter at Mike Canole SJ over there, Mexican Iron Man, right? You can always follow them. Now you go to a bunch of channels. So where are you going to be next? What
tomorrow I'll be at George the Giant Slayer and Valiant Stream, and then Monday Midnight's Edge. And thanks for having me, man. This is great. I love to nerd out on Disney. I love to talk about. And hey, my congratulations to you. Literally everything you predicted is what has come to pass. Everything.
Yeah, and by the way, thank you for putting me on. I know you sent me the article here. You put me on the development in California, and I think this is one I would love to dig more into and maybe collaborate with you on that.
Sure,
and get together on that because you're the California guy, and we can come together with our powers combined and talk about
the way the layout of Orlando Disney. I know the layout of Disneyland because we had family passes for 2 decades. I know exactly where they're thinking about putting this thing.
So this may work well. I can read like the legal terms and ask you questions about how this will work out practically, because you've still got family going there like on the regular basis, right?
Oh my God. My sister, my nieces, I literally am the lone man in a family full of Disney shills and Disney adults. Literally.
And by the way, guys, if you like this content, if you like my Disney content, if you appreciate that I'm still doing Disney content, please leave a like on the video and also leave a comment and say, thank you for doing this. Thank you for covering this. So I know you guys are looking forward to this coverage. So I know you guys enjoy it, right? I do topics that I enjoy, but also you guys enjoy. So if you guys are really liking content, I will do more of that type of content. If nobody likes it, then, you know, maybe I'll read it myself, but I may not do videos on it, right? So it's important that you guys do let me know that you like it and do, you know, echo that. That really is important for me because I have a lot of demands to cover a lot of topics and I can only do so much, right? I'm already doing 2 to 3 hours of research a day minimum, right? For each video, right? I don't just get on here and react without doing research. Deha says, seems like naysayers are making emotional arguments instead of informed disagreements using actual policies. Yes. Surprising, right? Surprising how a lot of people in a lot of realms are just making emotional arguments instead of using facts and reality. That is very true in a lot of different areas that I cover. You will see, and this is very consistent, people get emotional. They get in their feelings, but the facts don't care about your feelings. And we're here about the reality on my channel. I know on Mike's channel, Valiant is the same way as well. He deals with the facts and figures, not as much as the emotions, right? And that's what I like to deal with, and those are the people I like to collaborate with. That said, guys, Mike, stick around. We'll talk for a bit. But guys, stay around, guys. For locals, we may do one tomorrow. I get back to Bangkok tomorrow. If not, it'll be the next day. So I'll see you guys around. Take care, and I'll catch you later. Peace.